Recording.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. What up?
Oh, just ready to talk about some fight stuff.
I know. We have had a break. There were no fights last week. And now we got so many good fights to talk about.
There were such good fights.
They were really good.
Those French guys had some amazing striking. Beautiful displays.
Little frog legs in action, lots of stab kicks. I don't know. Is that like derogatory, French and frogs?
Only if you make it.
Why is that like a bad thing? Or why is that a thing in general? Like
I think
the frog thing.
Frog legs is a delicacy. No?
Oh, that's the only reason?
I don't know. Maybe I should Google that really
They're just
fast.
a very froggy country.
Is that? Somebody tell us in the comments.
Someone tell us what the frog thing is with the French guys. But the French guys showed out. There were a lot of wins. There were a lot of upsets, too, for the hometown guys. I feel like that's just kind of what naturally happens when you start coming to a new country for the first time. It's not like Brazil where you can stack the card with a bunch of people who are definitely going to win just because there's so much just so many years of growing that talent pool. In France, it's still kind of a new place where there's only maybe a handful of gems. There's only a handful of superstars. But every time they get out there, or every time we see a UFC card out there, or any MMA card out there since it's been legalized, the talent pool seems to be getting bigger and bigger.
I think it's safe to assume anytime an organization goes to that country, they're going to stack it on one side, and they're going to give slightly more favorable matchups.
Just slightly. And slightly
Slightly.
more favorable judgings.
Yes.
On those
it's always a possibility.
matchups.
Listen, this is just one of those things that is
Slightly.
accepted and known. And,
I don't know if it's accepted.
it is what it is.
Expected.
Expected. That's a better word. That is a better word.
We still mad.
But you're going into enemy territory. You, as a fighter, know that the odds are maybe stacked against you, whether it's the crowd booing you and rooting for the other person. As Battle found out, he dealt with that very well.
I love the way he dealt with that. Can we?
Wow.
Okay, we were gonna start with the main, but can we start with that?
Do we know that he made it out of the country safely?
I don't know.
I
I feel like I need to check his stories because
check his stories and see if he made it
gonna
out
make
because
sure.
if he made it through customs, they may have stopped him for some odd reason. Who
he
knows?
was playing with fire.
He was
Ready to get burned. But dude, I think he might be one of my favorite fighters right now. He is so funny on the mic. Like he sounds so black. Like he sounds so like someone from like a high school that I went to, or just like an area that I grew up, a family member. Like I love the way he approached like his post-fight speech. Bisming was trying to ask him questions. He was like, nah, no, I'm gonna flip off the crowd some more. Yeah, I thought it was awesome the way he handled that.
Where's my chain?
Yeah, dude, he made himself such a villain in that speech. I feel like he should fight exclusively in France. Like he will become famous.
They will show up to watch him lose.
Yes, he's gonna become famous,
And that's what you want.
Just for that, just for how he makes them feel, how angry they get. It was very WWE.
It was good. I like that he's leaning into it. I like that he stuck to his character, his role. He just, he made it work, and he made the French fans boo him, and he made the American fans chuckle. It was enjoyable all around for everyone.
Loved it.
He stimulated emotion.
I know y'all didn't expect a French guy to beat the butcher. And I think that's why I like him too, because his nickname is the same as my dog's actual name.
Okay, so you're a little biased.
The butcher. Yeah, buddy.
He says it like that too. He prefers if you say it like that.
Hey, the butcher. Hey, the butcher. Sit. No? Okay.
Good boy.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stories, and no recent updates.
Well,
I'm
he's
not
probably
sure.
locked down in customs. That's why.
I'm not sure if he made it home.
You know what? I think the UFC would bail him out if he needed to be.
Yeah.
If you're going to be in another country, you want the UFC to have your back because they have lawyers, they have people, they know people. I think he's going to be okay.
They have that awesome security guy.
Oh, I love him. He's killed people.
Oh, he
was
scary.
my security in Berlin.
Ooh, what's his name again?
It's early.
We can't tell you because then we'd have to kill you. That's why.
He has multiple identities.
Yes. Yeah, but the fight itself, Bryan Battle's fight, it's gonna be hot. I gotta take my jacket off. That was
excited.
It was such a good fight because he was getting hit. Like he used the Terminator defense where it is just walk through it and eventually they'll get tired. It's like not quite the Homer Simpson because he was giving it back. He had a lot of offense to get back. But yeah, like his opponent was landing some nasty 1-2s, landing some big shots in the pocket, like nice boxing. And he was just like it was almost like he was rolling with it, but I think he was just getting his head snapped back.
There was no defense. But yes, I think that is an accurate.
I think he thought he was rolling with it.
He wasn't. It was all offense. There was no defense for either one of them.
Yeah.
And Jousset,
yes.
Jousset. So he is a judoka. He has a pretty extensive judo career and a developing striking game. I thought that it was a really fun fight to watch. I was surprised that Battle tried to impose his grappling against such an experienced judoka, but he did well with it. It did.
I think it tired him out.
I think so.
Whenever you do those rounds with someone who's good at hip throws, good at that type of like turning your hips and off balancing people, the foot sweeps and everything, it can be really tiring for both people. And it's really a matter of who's willing to get in the dirt more, who's willing to grind it out. And he stayed really safe for the most part. Like there were a couple times he got tossed in his head, but he built right back up. And getting that throw, there's like that brief like feeling of relief. But then when they build up, you're like, fuck.
It's exhausting. That up-down motion. The up-down motion is exhausting.
Yeah.
For anyone, no matter how trained you are.
And it seemed like Jousset was not, or Jousset. Everyone's going to make fun of our pronunciations of French things.
We try.
But it was, you could tell that Jousset was a little taken aback by Battle's pressure. And that's one thing, like if you're the specialist and you get your special move and the person gets hit with it but deals with it and is not fazed by it.
It's a little defeating.
Yeah, that it takes the wind out of your sails. So yeah, I think that was a good strategy because in the second round, it was a lot harder for him to get in that fight. He didn't have the same pop on his punches that he had in the first round. And if he had landed what he landed in the second round in the first round, he might have knocked Battle out. Like, he was landing a lot.
Potentially, yeah. He had some really nice stiff punches, and I attribute that to his judo background as well. They have strong hip turnover, which translates well to striking.
Yeah. No, Battle went to battle. What you say came out on top. Those punches that he landed on the fence, like I feel like it reminds me of Diaz's brother.
A little bit.
The volume that he's able to throw.
The no defense or head movement.
The no defense. It seems like his arms become longer when he throws them. Like you weren't in range, but somehow you landed on him and it's hurting him. It doesn't really look like it hurts him. But then you see the body language change and you're like, oh, that was working. So it's kind of like that invisible boxing that Bryan Battle has. He was able to really get ahead on Jousset and just make him pay for it in those final moments. I felt like it was a really good stoppage, but when I saw the highlights, I was like, he was fine. But then, you watch the whole sequence and you're like, ooh.
That was a lot.
Get in there a little faster next time.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I mean, I appreciate the ref giving him an opportunity to move because he was standing, but it was also evident that the cage was holding him up.
Yes. That was a good one. It was a really good win. Really great post-fight speech. I loved it. New fan. I was a fan before, but that one, that really sold me. I'm like, yeah, fan for life now.
And I think he has an underrated cornerman. I think that everybody needs a cornerman hype man like he had walking into the octagon. He got slapped around and chest bumped and all of that. I think that's a nice little tidbit to take away.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And one last thing about the speech. I love how into it the translator was. Did you see that? He was doing all the motions. He was like, this is going on my acting reel. Like, but I was like, you think you can boo me? Everyone in my life has booed me. And he's like, you said something. I'm like, yo, the French fans felt that speech. He sold it. I was impressed. I was impressed with everyone involved with that performance. Jousset as well. I was impressed with everyone.
No, it was a great fight. It was a great matchup. Entertaining from start to finish.
Yes. But yeah, let's get back on track and talk about the main real quick.
Woo!
Dude, you picked it.
I should have picked TKO, but dude,
how did you know?
Moicano
How did you know?
Is a bad motherfucker.
He is.
He is
really
a psycho.
Scary.
He is a psycho, and I am here for it. I love watching him. He just has evolved in a way that is so impressive. The way he puts everything together, his jiu-jitsu is undeniable, but his striking as well has just become so much sharper. He uses his range very, very well, especially his jab cross. And I'm a big fan of Saint-Denis. However, I thought that the matchup would favor Moicano.
Crazy wins in this matchup because Saint-Denis is a little more reserved. He's a little more like he waits for his moments and then he attacks, and that's when it's like nasty. So I feel like when his corner was saying wake up, because at first I'm just like, he should probably give him a little more like technical advice. But whenever you hear that in the corner, you know that they've seen him either do this before or they've seen him perform a lot better. They've seen him get up a lot faster, like get to his positions where he's safe a lot, quicker. And for whatever reason, he just wasn't registering in that first round. Like he was behind, he was defending himself, he was staying in the fight, like staying alive, but he just couldn't get to a position where he was safe from getting hit. And his corner was just like, wake up, like this isn't you. And it's always kind of heartbreaking when you see that, because it's like, you never know what's going through a fighter's head. You never know what they experience on the way to the fight. And, someone like Moicano, you have to feel like no matter what, he's never going to get thrown off of his game because he has that crazy in him. Like he has that X factor of psycho. And like he can,
no, it helps.
He can get mugged on his way to the fight, get hit by a car, like
and he can shake it off. He's like, it's cool. It's just another
family
day.
member could die. Like he'd get in there and destroy the person even faster.
He's that person.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. It was much like the Allen and Imavov fight where he just got in on that takedown so fast. Yeah. And then the rest of the round, he was trying to play catch up and just doing damage control. And it is a weird thing in the corner. Sometimes a corner doesn't necessarily know what's going to be the thing that helps. Is it technical advice? Is it motivational advice? Is it energy? It's just challenging. But at the end of the day, it's up to the fighter to get through it, to make those decisions, to dig deep. And he was doing his best to survive. And that was his job. That's what he had to do in that round. And credit to him, he still had fight in him in the second round.
He won the round.
Yes, he did. And
according to the French judges. I mean, I'm not mad at that though, because he did pick up the volume. He was able to stuff the takedowns, not get in trouble at any point in that round. And I thought it was smart of Moicano too, because he just demolished him in that first round. Bisbing was debating whether it's
10-7.
10-8 or 10-7.
I don't remember the last time I heard a 10-7.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of agree. Like there was a lot of points where it could have been stopped and it wasn't. And I feel like if there's more than one moment where the fight could have been stopped and not one moment where the fighter was fighting back, 10-7 should be thought about.
That's
sure.
fair. I can feel that.
Yeah.
I understand your point.
And then when it comes to 10-8, it's usually either the person was about to lose the fight and they just happen to survive, or they're just getting manhandled the entire round. So, yeah, it was kind of both, you know? And then he made the joke that it's going to be a 10-10 round.
You never know.
I love Bisping on the right.
You never know. You know what?
He's so candid.
I've got to say, and just, I really enjoy him on the mic.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's honest.
Yeah.
He's, and the accent doesn't hurt.
The accent makes it easier.
Sometimes I wonder if he had an American accent, if it would come across as well.
I'd hate him.
Probably, right? Right?
I feel like, what a cocky, son of a gun. I can't stand him.
I was sitting there wondering that while I was on my couch watching the fights. I was like, I wonder if I would like him as much if he had an American accent.
Or if he was a woman.
Oh, you can't do that if you're a woman.
No. You have to be nice and pretty and polite.
And smile a lot.
Yes.
And giggle.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But Laura Sanko, she is doing her job. She's holding it down. She's not falling into too many of those stereotypes and still not pissing people off. So good job, Laura. You're figuring out how to toe the line.
No, she is. She's paving the way and figuring out as she goes along. You know?
For the rest of us. Like, oh, they didn't like when Laura did that? I'm definitely not doing that.
Noted.
Not doing that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had some things to say about that, the judging and stuff. But that, just the attack of Moicano in the first round, I thought it was really interesting. We saw this in one of the fights, and they were kind of saying that it was more so because he was green in the 306 fight. I forget which one it was, but the kid had the body triangle. Oh, I think it was Rodriguez versus Osborne. And he had the body triangle the entire time. And it kept him on his back. He was just rolling to mount, still had the body triangle, rolling to his back, still had the body triangle. And I feel like Moicano was kind of doing that. I'm wondering if that's like a new trend that we're going to see. People being in the body triangle on mount, just using it to keep that control and not being too afraid of getting rolled over, because that's really the fear, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in body triangle and you're mounted and they buck, there's a good chance that you're not able to unlock your legs fast enough in order to ride and stay on top.
No, I love it. I love a body triangle from back to mount. It's sometimes really easy to escape mount in MMA. And I think that it just gives you that security.
The butterfly. Oh, they were prepared for it because of the butterflies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they knew.
Explain the butterflies for the fans.
The butterfly hooks. The
butterfly effect.
Saint-Denis, even the broadcast team was commenting on how good he is with the butterfly. The butterfly hooks are used to elevate your opponent, to get them off of you, to create space, to create a scramble, to get up from a bad position. And by Moicano advancing to mount from the back in the body triangle, it completely took that tool away from him. Yeah. And it kept him down. And it also allowed for his hips to be open so he could posture up and throw those devastating elbows that he threw repeatedly.
It was really nasty. It was a really, that's what won him the fight ultimately. He was able to swell his eyes up, make it so he couldn't see out of one side. And he just looked defeated going into that second round.
Yeah, it was, I think it was a really good call by the doctor. I didn't know if a French doctor was going to allow it to continue or not. Yeah. But I think the safety of the fighter, he clearly could not see out of that eye, out of that right eye. Mm-hmm. So I think that they made a great call, even though I know that he wanted to continue. And he probably, I remember cornering Beck's fight and they said, okay, we'll give you one more round. We'll give you one more opportunity. And I appreciated that because her eye was pretty foregone at that point, but it wasn't completely swollen like his was. Anyways, I thought that they might give him one more round, just to try.
Yeah, same. But I think they said it to Goddard. They, like, the doctor, it seemed like he tried to word it in a way where Goddard would allow that. And he was just like, nah, we're done here. We're not going to have like another Aldana moment or anything like that where the people working the fight are getting cussed out for not stopping it. I think it was a good stoppage too, because by the time they're doing the post-fight speeches, like, totally swollen. Like, it looked like he had goggles on, you know, like just super swollen eyes. Really hard to come back from that, especially because the second round wasn't spectacular. Like, yes, he won on the scorecards, but it wasn't a round where you thought, ooh, this fight might be about to change. He might be about to get some momentum. It was very much a strategic round off for Moicano, and Saint-Denis did just enough to win.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was going to look any different or any better than it did in that second round.
Yeah,
I agree.
So yeah, good stoppage, good fight. What do you think is next for Moicano? I loved his call outs.
He is so much fun to watch.
Oh my God. He's insane.
No, he's
is crazy. You know what it is? These crazy Christians.
Is he Christian?
He is, because he said the thing in his speech about people are trying to take God out of everything, and you can't do that. And France was like, woo. Okay.
He spoke about the French government.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah. I'm like, him and Bryce Mitchell need to get a podcast together.
Oh
they
my God, could you imagine?
would have a cult following.
I
literally cult following.
No, exactly. I think that's where it's heading.
Oh my gosh. Bryce is on the phone right now. Hey brother, I was just, making sure I didn't have any fluoride in my water, and I heard your fight. We got some things to talk about, Jesus Christ and everything, putting Christ back into MMA. So
oh my God.
Oh, I'd love that.
I'm here for it. I like it.
I will watch for entertainment purposes purely. But yeah, you never know. They might brainwash you.
It's that fluoride.
Yeah, no more fluoride for me. I'm done. Thank you, Bryce. Oh man, yeah. It was a good fight. I still haven't watched his press conference and everything, but I'm definitely going to tune in because I know he's going to have some things to say. Moicano's.
I might subscribe to his podcast after this. I just might.
Oh my God.
I just might.
All right. Well, the co-main, which I picked the winner for.
You did.
I did. But I think I said finish, and it was a decision. But man, Brendan Allen had me sweating in the first round.
So somebody that is as sharp and impressive as a striker at Imavov was having a really challenging time with Allen striking.
Yeah, I picked Imavov for KO or TKO, and it went to decision. But he really didn't land it. He didn't win via strikes. He won just from defense, from top control, from being able to reverse Allen's takedowns and capitalize on it. But on the feet, it was actually pretty even.
I think that I have to attribute the lack of sharpness in his striking because he was doing so much grappling, and he's probably not necessarily as conditioned for that as one would be as Allen.
Yeah.
Although Allen was having a really hard time, he really got the wind taken out of his sails in that third round. I think because of the lack of setups for his takedown attempts, and just kept getting stuffed and sprawled on. It was a tough night for Allen, but I saw a lot of really impressive stuff with his striking. And I think if he had, set up the takedowns a little bit better, if he had pressed the striking a little bit more, I think it could have been a little bit even of a fight, even could have been, a split decision for him.
Yeah, he was pushing the pace. He kept going for those takedowns. The first one was awesome. It was that little body lock knee bump thing we do with Justin, J-Flow Academy. We do it with Phil too, but using that knee to get him up and get him down onto the ground. And it was really nice, but I feel like he forgot how he got there in the second and third round. Like
he started going for that single instead.
Yeah. He was going straight for the single or straight for the double leg against the fence. And these are more obvious takedowns you can sprawl on. That one single leg he went for where it looked like he like kind of swooped around to the side, I was like, ooh, he's gonna get with that one. But Imavov did such a good job of stuffing his head and getting on top. And I think Allen might not have expected his grappling on top to be as good. He was just ahead. He seemed more conditioned. I think the first round might have taken a lot out of Allen's gas tank, just because Imavov, he looks like a big, strong guy. Allen was trying real hard to stay in a good position, like stay in half guard, stay on top. But then once he got put back into full guard, it just seemed like he didn't really have the energy to pass again. It seemed like he started getting a little tired. I'm not sure what it was, but it like the first round ended kind of like blah, and then the second round he came out more kind of blah when it came to the grappling.
Yeah, I think he was really focused on the potential explosion and creating a scramble of Imavov from bottom.
Okay.
And I think that caused him to just really be extremely tense and not want to open up to try and do damage. And again, we heard Herb Dean, clapping at him and trying to tell him to improve position.
Herb,
and work.
You're freaking the fighters out, man.
But like you have to think it is really challenging to get a takedown on someone that doesn't want to be taken down. Mm-hmm. That is such an impressive striker. And I understand the cause for caution in Allen's mind. I understand that. It's hard to get a takedown. It's hard to stay in a good position. It's hard to land strikes. So having a ref constantly telling you that you need to work, it can kind of mess with the mind a little bit. You feel this sense of urgency, of kind of anxiety, of pressure that you need to, do something big, and then you could potentially lose the position.
Mm-hmm. That, and you're getting booed by the fans too. So it's like
that doesn't help.
Not the fans. The fans will make you think that already. And then when the ref starts saying that, you're like, ah. And then his corner is probably saying it too, even though it's in French. They're probably saying, he's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. Shut him up, ref. There's probably a lot going on that's making Allen think, I should do something, but I really just don't want to let him get up. And that squeeze, the anxiety, the pressure, all that's going to deaden your arms. And it looked like he didn't have that confidence that he had in the first going into the second and third. But he should have had confidence in his striking, because there are a few things he landed on Imavov that I haven't seen anyone land on him.
No, he was doing a really good job.
Right?
And again, it could have been that Imavov was a little bit drained from the grappling exchanges. And it could have been just that Allen has like this range that he's not used to. And he's not outsized. Imavov is normally the one with a little bit more size, a little bit more reach. And he had somebody that was a little bit more even to him. And I wish that Allen had recognized that, had more confidence in that.
Yeah, that knee in the end, like we saw somebody get dropped by the same knee
Woo!
Earlier in the fight, and he lands this like big lift your whole leg up knee on Imavov as he's rushing in, trying to score at the last moment. I thought it was a closer fight than it looked like on the cards, but it was definitely 1-1 going into the last one. And yeah, Imavov did what he had to do to make it obvious. Like,
I've got to say, I was really impressed with Imavov because I didn't know what his grappling would look like, but he looks much more well-rounded than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's good on the ground, man. I wouldn't be surprised if we started seeing him go for takedowns more often now against grapplers and stuff. Might want to tire him out a bit though. First,
just a little bit,
just a tiny bit, tiny bit. One thing I thought was cute was Imavov's armbar attempt. And do you think he watched your video, your tutorial on how to get the armbar from back control? Because I feel like he was going through the steps in his head. He took so long to throw it up. I'm like, all right, first of all.
No, it was there.
You can't just be holding on to step 2 and expect them not to know what you're gonna do.
There is a point though where somebody can feel it kind of happening. Like you're like, okay, this is not a choke position. He's definitely trying to isolate my arm, and there is an opportunity for somebody to explode out of that position. So I understand the caution.
Yeah,
it's just something he needs to drill just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more, so it's faster. So you're like, I feel like he started to go for it, and then he saw, oh, there's still a minute left, so he stopped. And then,
he's like, I'll wait for 30.
Yeah,
I'll wait for 30 seconds.
Once you already get the leg across and you're pushing the head away, you're like, I can't really go back to the rear naked and trick him. So he just hung out there a little too long. But I thought that was cute. Hey, Imavov, make sure you watch the tutorial again just to nitpick those finer details, and then you'll get that armbar you want. I guarantee it. It's like, anyway, ladies. Yeah, that was a good fight. But one thing that a lot of people are up in arms about is the Gomis versus Brito fight.
Man, I was excited for that fight.
That you picked.
Yes, I did.
But I feel like I have a case because a lot of people think that it was 29-28 Brito.
So it came down to the second round for me. And the reason that I agree with the call, and I also realize he's a Frenchman in France, I totally understand it. However, you've said this before, like, oh, damage. He was in position, but he was not doing any damage, and he was clearly squeezing for a submission that wasn't there. And Gomis constantly putting up his thumb and waving it off, saying he's okay. It just looked like he was stalling.
Yeah.
Even though he was in a very dominant position. And had I been rooting for Brito, I may think different. But, that's neither here nor there.
If you were rooting for Brito, you would have seen that Gomis was doing the stalling in the first round.
Maybe. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm
the round in which
I am in possibility
Brito
with it.
did the most damage.
But then so it was a little bit more than the halfway mark when they stood up. So he had a little bit more than half a round in control. But the way Gomis came back in that second half of the round and did so much damage, his body shots with his legs, his movement, his strikes were just so crisp that I was like, okay, if you're looking at damage, then he wins that round.
Okay. I think the second round is the one where everyone scored for Brito, but the first round was kind of the swing round. And then the third round, everyone scored for Gomis. On the scorecards, at least. On the scorecards. Okay. So that's what the judges saw. And I kind of saw the same story, which is why I'm not screaming robbery, because I was like, the first one was really close. It depends on what you're looking at. And then I was like, the third one is really close. So it depends on what you're looking at. All three judges saw the third round for Gomis, yes. Which I felt like was kind of, you had to still kind of weigh what you're looking at more. But I felt like Gomis finished stronger in the third round, so that was fair to score for him in the third. And then the first round, all the control time that Gomis had, I was like, I don't think that Brito's gonna get it with just those few punches and kicks that he landed in the last part of it. It was literally the last 30 seconds of the first round, Brito was landing on Gomis, and the entire rest of the round, Gomis was pressuring, he was controlling on the ground, he was on top and not letting Brito do anything. So I thought okay, maybe Gomis won the first round and stole it because of those big strikes. Because it looked like Gomis was hurt, wobbled in the first, and then he took over in the second, got on top. And then the third, Gomis was fine. He was back. He was landing, scoring. It was kind of back and forth. But then at the very end, he went for that guillotine. He landed the jump knee to the stomach. He did a convincing job of showing, hey, I'm the fresher fighter at the end of the third.
Yeah, I just thought he pulled ahead for me in the third round because Renato was being extremely aggressive, but Gomis was dodging the punches. He was making a miss, even though they were big shots, and he was just out of range. He was just avoiding them. So I'm okay with this decision.
You like the decision?
I do.
I'm okay with it too. I thought I would be more mad at it. But like, whenever I hear robbery, I go back and watch the fight because this is one of the ones that I missed. So I heard about the robbery first, and then I went back and watched it, and it's one of those ones where I'm like, yeah. You got to do a little bit more. Like Brito in the first, I'm like, yeah, I felt like he should have won the first round, but I wouldn't be confident if that was me. Like I would be pretty sure that I lost the round, even though I almost like wobbled him, even though he was visibly hurt. And the only thing he did was control me in the first. So it's one of those things where it's close enough where, especially if you're fighting the hometown guy, you can't expect that that's going to be a win for that guy. And like Brito didn't seem like upset. I'm talking about the fans mostly because there is a lot. Like if you look at the comment section, there is a lot of robbery talk on that fight.
I just, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think that robbery gets thrown around a lot when it should be like, hey, that was a really freaking close, tough fought fight. And I'm not exactly sure who should have gone. And I have a case for either side.
Yeah.
But I
think that guy should have won instead of robbery.
Yeah.
It's not a robbery. I just think he should have won.
Yeah. Because of this and that. And that's okay. We can, be in a disagreement there. I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a really tough, hard fought fight. And I hope they got fight of the night. I hope they got paid for that. Because that was.
Oh, nice. They did?
I'm not sure. I was just going to check. I said, I hope they did. I hope because
I feel like Battle might have been, but he might have gotten performance. That fight was pretty nuts back and forth too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So sorry guys. I'm like I felt like Brito won, and I'll say that. But at the same time, it was really close. It was a really close fight. And it goes back to say that we really need to figure out what the scoring is. I'd love to have open scoring for fights. I forget which promotion said they were doing it, but I'd love to have open scoring. Invicta does it, I believe, now.
Do they?
Yeah, they do it now where you can choose. Like, you can choose to, if you want to know, or if you don't want to know because you feel like it might affect your game plan. I would love to know.
I think I would like to know.
I would love to know, especially
being able to make those adjustments like in real time and not have to go back and watch footage and try and figure out what it was or what you could have done differently. Just knowing in that moment, I think could be a game changer.
Yeah, because you can say in your head, oh, they didn't like that. Okay, let me do something different. As opposed to just thinking, I feel like I did enough to win that round. So let's move on and do the same thing and then lose all three. So yeah, I would love to have open scoring. I feel like that might have been a thing that could have changed this fight and many other close fights that we saw on this card.
So they did not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
Who got fight of the night?
Performance of the night went to Mogan Chariar.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a great one. Bryan Battle got performance of the night.
Hey.
And then Chris Duncan, performance of the night.
Oh, the Scottish guy? Mm-hmm. That was a good one. That was really cute. I feel like they should have had a translator for him.
It would have helped.
But how sweet was his post fight? Did you hear like he was just saying how his mom died and how he misses her and stuff, and he's like in tears, and you could tell it was a long time coming to get that submission win in this UFC, and it was just really sweet.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was so sweet. And that submission, man, that kid, who was he fighting? He was fighting
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. Sorry.
Bolaji Oki. He was fighting Chris Duncan, and Oki was doing everything right up until that point. I mean, it was only a minute and a half into the round. He was doing everything right, and then it almost looked like he was just working on stuff like, oh, let me work on my takedowns now. And is it time? Butcher, go get Adam.
Go get nails, did.
Go get him.
Butcher.
Why is he hiding from you?
Because he knows.
It's Butcher's time get groomed, and
Butcher.
He's scared.
Oh, honey.
Oh, he's like, save me, Jess.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my gosh. You gotta go home. You're drunk. Oh my God.
Bye, Bubs. Oh no. Close the door.
He almost made it back. What a...
That's your child.
You think you could take the butcher to the groomers? You think
again.
You think a Scottish man can take the butcher to a groomer? Oh, that's great. Oh, buddy. You're going to look so handsome when you get back. Oh, what are we talking about?
Oh my God.
He's back.
Adam.
Get out. Hey, out. Come
Butcher.
here. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to
I didn't
edit
protect
this.
you the first time.
Huh? In the closet, I thought.
I'm
Get
sorry,
outta
Butcher.
here.
I'm sorry, baby.
He was about to go behind the door. He was going to find anywhere else under the table.
Can't see me here.
Anywhere but on the way out to the groomers. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Oki. Chris
What were we
Duncan.
talking about?
Chris Duncan versus Oki.
What?
Yeah. One of the few Scottish UFC fighters left. There aren't that many right now, but Chris Duncan is one of them, and he fought really well. Well, it looked like he was kind of getting pieced up, but Oki went for a takedown. He went for a single leg, and it's almost like the guy knew exactly when to jump this gear. Like it was like a trap, you know, like he goes for the single and he just like slipped the arm and jumped on top of the head. Like just, oh, great. Like, thank you. It was one of those moments. And then when he got the sub, I thought he was going to burn his arms out. He lets it go and the guy's asleep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was nuts.
Because it seemed like he was fighting it intelligently.
Yeah.
And it looked like he would like.
He like popped his head out, but he was actually just convulsing.
Yeah.
It's so gross. Like when you see someone get choked unconscious and just because it's a blood choke. So it's not like they're coughing or anything. Everything shuts off.
Yeah.
And there's like a stutter in the shut off. So like you literally like people can tremble. Their like eyes can go weird. Like it just looks really unnatural.
Yeah, it's a little frightening if you've never seen it before.
You get the drool.
Yeah, some people say it's like waking up from a really good nap.
No, that's what it feels like.
Usually people, it's very refreshing. I do not play around with that. I've never been willingly choked out unconscious or unwillingly. But I know I've been in and out of the gyms for, almost 2 decades. And I've seen some people just be like, I want to get choked unconscious. I'm like, please don't
it's
do that.
weird.
Please don't do that.
You don't want that. No.
It's not good for your brain.
It isn't.
Oh.
But like a lot of people preach the theory that like, hey, if it's like a limb that's going to get broken, yeah, tap. But if it's a choke, you better fight it until you go out. And a la why people gave Holly Holm so much credit when she fought on the same card as Conor McGregor, and she did not tap and he did. And they started calling him McTapper. But it's not like this badge of honor. It's actually like, if you're going to go out, you kind of know right before you go out. And usually, like, I have the one time that it happened in a fight, I was literally about to tap, and then I was like, whoa.
No, it's a fine line. Like
what happened?
Yeah, it starts like closing in on you. This like tunnel vision, this fogginess, and then it just sometimes you don't time it right, and you miss that window, and you just waited just a little bit too long.
Like,
to get
dang
there.
it! I thought I had one more second.
Yeah.
Oh well, but yeah,
valiant effort.
It was, and it looked like Oki was doing all the good things, all the right things to get out. Like he was getting his head high. He should have kind of grabbed the back of the head, right, and just used that leverage. But his arm was stuck pretty nice underneath. What was his name? Underneath Duncan's back, and so it was hard for him to defend. But yeah, that was really cool. And I've never seen someone go unconscious and the person had to tell the ref in that way. You know what I mean? Like, usually they tell the ref if they're tapping, but when they're unconscious, like, visibly in front of you, like, don't you see this? Like, I thought that was a really strange moment. Like, we don't really see that often.
No, think I recall it like maybe a time or two where somebody had to tell the ref that he's out. But sometimes, you know, your body tenses.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're still in it. It looks like you're still fighting. And that's what I think we saw last night.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a wild one. Any other fights you want to talk about before we go to our bonus?
No, let's just hop on over to the bonus.
All right. We'll see you guys on the other side. If you're a member, you get to hear us talk about twerking. The twerk girl and all the other cool knockouts and finishes that happened at UFC Paris. And then we'll talk a little bit about Pereira versus Roundtree.
Ooh, it's coming up.
Yeah. Join us.
See ya.
And we'll see you there.